In my last life, my wife and I lived together for 40 years, in harmony and love. My son was filial and smart and became a medical expert renowned both at home and abroad. With my children and grandchildren around me and my husband and wife living in harmony, I lived a happy life for 60 years. After my death, my soul had been lingering in the world, but I was shocked to find that my loving wife never shed a tear for me. After I was cremated, she was reluctant to bury me, but threw my urn in a warehouse full of garbage. My son, who was famous for his filial piety, was anxiously urging his mother, "Mom, book the cemetery quickly, Dad can't hold on any longer." It turned out that he was not my biological son, and each 6-month overseas assignment was to enjoy the family happiness with his biological father. And my wife's regular sister travel every year was also to reunite with her lover. They used my money to support another man, and they were reluctant to buy me a grave after I died. I was in extreme pain, and when I opened my eyes again, I heard the shouts of the crowd, "Someone fell into the water, hurry up and save her." In the last life, and Jasmine Cooper and Stanley Gordon jumped into the river in anger, but at the critical moment of life and death, Stanley retreated. As the son of a servant of the Cooper family, I saved in regardless of my own safety and became a cripple because of this. She became my wife to thank me. After rebirth, I pushed Stanley forward when he was about to escape. In this life, I would take care of myself. Stanley was pushed forward by me, and a flash of anger flashed in his eyes, and because there were so many people present, he had to give up. "Mr. Gordon, where are you going? Miss Cooper fell into the water. Aren't you going to save her?" Seeing that everyone was looking at him, I turned around and left without any reluctance, but he blocked my way again. Stanley looked at me coldly. "Charles, you are her servant. You have received such a great favor from the Cooper family. Now is the time for you to repay the favor. Hurry up and save her. If Anne is in trouble, the Cooper family will not let you go." In the previous life, Stanley was also there, but I was eager to save people and he became a deserter, so I had this opportunity. I suppressed the sneer in my heart and said with embarrassment, "Mr. Gordon, I came to find you. I can't swim and you are the captain of the school swimming team. Of course, I have to give you this opportunity to save the beauty." Everyone reacted at this time. "Oh, this is Mr. Gordon. I heard that the Gordon family and the Cooper family had a baby marriage. Mr. Gordon, go down and save people." I heard that Miss Cooper and Mr. Gordon were a campus celebrity couple in college. This is not a coincidence. A hero saves a beauty. Everyone talked about it. Stanley was a little bit caught in a dilemma. I wanted to leave in the chaos, but suddenly Anne's cry for help sounded behind me. "Charles, please save me. I know you like me. If you save me, I will marry you, okay?" For a moment, everyone looked at me again. Stanley's eyes were gloomy. "Oh, you don't take it seriously, do you?" Anne and I quarreled and were angry. "But your lady has spoken. Why don't you hurry down to save people?" I turned my head to look at the woman in the river. The face I loved for decades, now without wrinkles and traces of time, young and beautiful. But my heart was torn apart the moment I saw her. She knew I couldn't swim, but she couldn't bear to let her lover take risks. I suppressed the bitterness and said in embarrassment, "Miss Cooper, I can't swim." She almost couldn't wait. "Charles, just believe me. The emergency personnel will be here soon. You will be fine." I was stunned. She said guiltily, "I'm just guessing." I was almost sure that she was also reborn. After 2 lives, she still refused to let me go. Anger almost burned through my rationality. I clenched my fists tightly, looking embarrassed. "Miss Cooper, Mr. Gordon and you are childhood sweethearts. I can't steal his limelight, and how dare I like you? You just misunderstood." After speaking, the scene was silent, and almost forgot to struggle and stood in the water blankly. I didn't know if it was an illusion, but there was a trace of panic in her eyes besides shock. I turned around neatly and left the scene. In the last life, and fell into the water, and I jumped down to save her without hesitation. The wire scraped my leg. When I was rescued to the shore, the wound was already visible to the bone. Even though the doctor tried his best later, he couldn't save it. I became a cripple, and became my girlfriend to thank me. 2 years later, we got married. A year after marriage, we gave birth to a smart and lovely son. As my son grew up day by day, the burden on me became heavier and heavier. Because of my disability, I suffered from contempt and cold treatment. For my wife and son, I worked 3 jobs every day, and I worked my way up from a cement worker to a contractor and finally a builder. I couldn't bear to let him suffer, so I bought her the biggest house, the latest bags, and I gave her all the income from the company as soon as possible. Just because she said pink diamonds are so beautiful, I crossed the whole of Africa, picked out the biggest pink diamond, and personally carved a unique ring for her. On the way back, I encountered armed robbers, and I almost lost my life to save this ring. When my son grew up, I sent him to the most expensive school and a cram school that cost $200 an hour. I picked him up and dropped him off in person regardless of wind or rain. Eventually, I trained him to become a medical expert renowned overseas. When he got married, I took out $100 million as the startup capital for their small family and also gave him 2 villas with a market value of $200 million. A few years later, he had a child, and I started to take care of his grandchildren again. I did all the housework, big or small. I never let him do housework. I liked her to be beautiful and outspoken forever. Out of trust, I gave her all the savings, bonds, stock funds, and jewelry in the family for safekeeping. I worked hard for this family, but I collapsed in the office at the age of 60 due to overwork. In front of the hospital bed, I was dying. My grandson lay beside me and called me Grandpa sweetly. My son held my hand with red eyes and then turned away and dared not look at me. With children and grandchildren around my knees and husband and wife in harmony, I had lived a happy life for 60 years. Perhaps because I stayed too far away from the world, my soul did not reincarnate for a long time after my death. Because of this, when I took my last breath, my wife turned around with a calm face. My son wiped his tears and said to the nurse as if nothing had happened, "Pull out the tube and vacate the ward for other people." The grandson threw himself into his arms. "Dad, did I act well? The reward you promised me must not be counted." I was stunned. My body was quickly packed and sent to the funeral home. My wife did not inform any of my relatives and friends, but just hastily posted a circle of friends. "Charles passed away this morning. He meant to keep everything simple. I hope everyone will not be too sad." My son went back to work on the day I died. Under the firelight, I saw my body turning into powder bit by bit and flying into the air. The woman waiting in the hall buried her head and read the message, as if the things burning in the hot furnace behind her had nothing to do with her. "Charles, he is dead. I only have you." My soul floated in front of her, watching her flirt with another man and talk to each other. Later, my urn was taken home by her. My son urged, "Mom, book a cemetery quickly, Dad is dying." "Do you want to be buried with this man?" It turned out that my beloved son was not my own son at all. He was sent to see his father every year, and the travel photos that had been posted on Instagram in those years were just taken for me after being intimate with men. I saw them guarding Stanley's bed and then cried bitterly, "Stanley, you will get better." My ashes were still thrown in the warehouse by them, and they had already started to prepare for the funeral of another man. On the day Stanley died, and stood in front of the newly bought grave with a sad face, "I owe Stanley my life. After I die, I want to be buried with him." My son nodded and choked up, "Mom, don't worry, you will definitely be with Dad." 60 years of time seemed like a joke. I was in extreme pain and I rushed towards the mother and son in anger, but my body became lighter and lighter. When I opened my eyes again, I was here. God actually gave me another chance. In this life, I decided to live for myself. After returning home, I immediately found my mother and proposed the idea of leaving the Cooper family. My mother looked embarrassed. "The Cooper family has treated us well and we can't forget our roots." I said earnestly, "Mom, do you want to watch your son be a servant for the rest of his life? Besides, we have repaid the kindness for so many years." My mother still hesitated, "But, don't you like Miss Cooper?" For so many years, she had seen my efforts for and naturally knew what I was thinking. I shook my head bitterly, "Mom, you misunderstood. I don't like her." Before I finished speaking, Anne, who was wet, rushed over and slapped me hard. When she was about to hit me for the second time, I grabbed her wrist and slapped her hard. She gnashed her teeth. "You still dare to resist? Charles, why didn't you save me?" I took a step back, my face calm. "I can't swim," and frowned. "Didn't you say you would die for me?" She still remembered the oath I made in front of her, but she had completely forgotten how she betrayed me. I laughed. "Miss Cooper, how can you take a servant's words to make you happy seriously?" Anne was stunned, with shock and disbelief flashing in her eyes. "Yes, you should know that I didn't dare to say a harsh word in front of her in the past. I was about to leave with my mother and she suddenly called me. "Stop. It's all because of you that Stanley's leg was injured. If he becomes a cripple, I won't let you go. Go to the hospital and apologize to the Gordon family now." Looking at her angry eyes, my heart was just desolate. 10 years of unrequited love, 40 years of marriage, I loved her to the bone and I couldn't bear her to suffer a little. I had never been guilty, but in her heart, I was just Stanley's scapegoat. Not to mention the last life. Stanley relied on his large numbers to make me pretend to be a dog and eat dog food, pushed me down the mountain and made me lick their shoes. The Gordon family had always doted on this only child. Now asking me to apologize to them was nothing more than pushing me to death. I wanted to take my mother away, but Anne called someone to press me to the ground.